Good morning, I'm John Cottis and welcome to ComSpark 2019. I'd like to introduce my co-host Ben Beshear from Beshear Financial, and our guest today is Tonjia Coverdale from Central State University. And we're here today to talk about careers. And Tonjia, I'd like to ask you if you could tell us about a career challenge that you face in your position today.
Well, I don't think being a CIO comes without challenges every day because of the fact that technology evolves so quickly and you're always trying to run and figure out what's the best solution and what should you do now. But I would say a challenge that is not necessarily a negative challenge but a fun challenge would be when I arrived at Central State University. So Central State University, just to give you a little background about it, is a 131-year-old university located here in Ohio, in Wilberforce. So it's a small rural town. And we are in the realm of trying to reinvent who do we want to be in 2020 moving forward, and technology being a big part of that. Well, when I arrived at Central State University, there was hardly any infrastructural footprint in technology. And so I'm thinking, well, how are we going to be a forward-thinking, high-tech university in 2020 when we don't have campus Wi-Fi, right? So it was that basic. So having to ramp up the university in such a short period of time, I was able to not only deploy a new fiber optic network, new Office 365, new via IP phones, new camera surveillance system, new ERP, so many other things in like 1 year. Because I felt like if we're really going to compete with not only our Ohio universities, but universities across the country, and in fact, universities we don't even know of because online is a challenge for us as well and competitors. So how can I do that and get us up to speed very quickly, but keeping in mind the change management that comes along with it? So I'm throwing new technology at the campus, and they're like, wait, we're 131 years old, we're not used to all of this technology. I'm like, use it, you know, so can't do that. So having to ramp up the technology quickly as well as have an underlying change management focus was definitely a challenge.
And you mentioned it, with as quickly as technology changes, where and how do you find time to not only do your day job, but also keep up with all the things that are changing in technology?
I don't think I ever sleep. Like, honestly, I kind of just take naps and I call it sleep because it's so exciting for me. And so whenever I can attend conferences or even speak with my peer CIOs across industries. So I have amassed a network of peer CIOs, and like I mentioned, they're across industries. And so what I do is, what are you doing in healthcare? What are you doing in banking and insurance? What are you doing in government? And listen to what they're doing and try to take those solutions and implement them in higher ed. Even though we've never necessarily seen them in higher ed or they're not higher ed focused, I still like to learn as much as I can from my peers. So really it's those conversations that allow me to see what's coming, what's here, what's on the forefront, and try to reimagine what it is I want to do at Central State.
Well, Tonjia, that's quite a list of accomplishments that you mentioned. Now, one of the challenges that you must face is communicating to your peers and to the Board of Overseers at the university. And how do you do that without being pigeonholed as a technology person? You know, how do you win support for your agenda?
Yes, that's a very good question. I feel like the role of a CIO at a university or any organization really is evolving. So traditionally, we're kind of like basement guys or girls that kind of sit down there and tinker away at the computer. But now that technology is so central to the entire organizational strategy and our efficacy and our efficiency, I'm right there at the table. So I serve on the cabinet of our president. So I sit right next to her, the CFO, the provost, the VP for Student Affairs, the general counsel. And so I'm listening to them and their challenges every day. And while they're discussing that, I'm putting out my ideas. Hey, we can innovate and do this, we can innovate and do that. And the bottom line is, this is how we make our job easier. This is how I help you to make your job easier. So with that as my tagline, it's very much accepted, the innovation, because it's not that I just want to play with cool technology. I mean, I do, but it's more so we know that we are in a rapidly changing landscape. So how can I use what I know to help you gain more students, retain more students, teach more students, increase our bottom line, and so we work together as a team. Not only that, my path to CIO is a little different than most CIOs in that I have both an academic background and an industry background. So I did start in industry and took the technical route, started as a programmer at IBM and went to HP, Accenture, you know, the usual. At some point I went back to get my PhD, and then I fell in love with higher ed, and so I started being a professor, and because I have faculty experience, the faculty trust me, and I'm able to go to the faculty and talk to them, and I go to their meetings, and what are your challenges in the classroom? I know what it's like to be in the classroom, I've done that, so it's that experience that I bring as well, being the user, that gives me an informed perspective on how I innovate on campus.
Well, Tonjia, thank you very much for your insights. It's been a fascinating conversation. And thank you for listening to our interview. If you'd like to get more information, visit us at ComSpark Tech.